Uh, hey, Terry, can you actually hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Karen, I've had audio issues. Karen, can you stop sharing your screen? This is not your item.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead then. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the Tucson Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting of Thursday, July 28th, 2022. Call to order at 1:01 p.m. And I'll go ahead and do roll call. Terry Majewski is here. Joel Ireland.
Here.
Thank you. Savannah McDonald.
Here.
Carol Griffith.
Here.
Ricky Riojas.
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Mulder is not on, but we do have a quorum of 5. So we're good to go. Item 2 is approval of legal action report in minutes for the meetings of June 29th and July 14th, 2022. And could we have a motion to approve both of these, please?
I move that we approve both minutes
As submitted?
and submitted, yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Thank you. Is there discussion? If not, I'll call roll. Terry says aye. Carol?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Thank you. And the motion passes unanimously 5-0. Item 3 are historic preservation zone review cases that we review under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0.0/historic district design guidelines and revised Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines. Case 3A is HPZ 22043 at 219 East 2nd Street. And this is for construction of a carport and relocation of gates. It's a full review in the West University Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource. And staff, do we have background on this, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. This case went before West University on July 19. Prior to that, the architect Bill Mackey and owner Jim Clark had gone for a courtesy review with West University. And so they were reviewing this time as a full review on July the 19th. I sent the legal action report to you, but the motion was made by Mr. Turner to recommend approval as presented. The only condition that they had was that the stainless steel horizontals are to be ½ inch. And I believe Mr. Mackey was okay with that. That was the only thing on the horizontal for the carport, the design for the gates and stuff like that. Other than that, there was no other issue from West University.
Thank you. And who is presenting this case then?
I can. Bill Mackey. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Great, thank you.
Let me share my screen. So this is the aerial for the property. The property's highlighted in red. It's on the northwest corner of 2nd and Arizona Avenue in the West University Historic District. There's a fuzzy close-up of it, but there's a main house that had an addition put on it several years ago, and then 3 kind of accessory structures. And then there's a fence along Arizona Avenue on the east side of the property with a gate, a car gate for cars to park in this area. So that's the existing condition. You can see this is the development zone, everything with the red dash around it, because it's on the corner of this of these streets, Arizona in second. And so everything across the street, across Arizona is in the development zone, everything up Arizona along this side is in development zone, and then all the properties along second, across the street, and also kitty corner are within the development zone. So I'm just going to walk you through some pictures of the development zone in case you haven't been to the site. So this is the main house, looking at it from 2nd Street, looking north. It's a little tiny bungalow where a 2-story addition was placed on the north side some years ago. And then here's looking, starting to move up Arizona Avenue, looking at the west side of the property, or east side of the property looking west. And so along the house, you see there's this fence that has plantings on it and is, just a steel wire fence. And then about where the addition starts is this other steel panel fence that was reviewed and approved and installed many years ago as well. And we're going to be taking a section of that, one gate, and then also taking a section of it and reusing it for the garage doors, which you'll see when we get to the drawings. So that's the property 219 East 2nd, along Arizona Avenue. And we're recommending the proposed carport go in this location right here. And then further to the north, at the very north side of that property is a little guest house. And then just north of the property is another little carport that's contributing. It's a brick solid structure. And then a kind of 1.5-story, 2-story building immediately to the property to the north. Down in the bottom right, there's an aerial with a little red arrow, and that's kind of where the camera is pointing, so you can get your orientation. And 2 properties north of our property is actually a contributing carport apartment structure, wood, kind of 50s, 60s. I'm not sure what era this was. It had to be sometime prior to the designation time, but just a simple flat roof and post and beam construction flanked by 2 masonry kind of solid structures. At the corner up at First is a 2-story structure there. So then turning around and looking across Arizona Avenue, looking to the east at the corner of First in Arizona is, there's just a bunch of series of garages and walls. And a lot of these garages are not contributing, but they exist in the fabric, and people are using Arizona Avenue as kind of the access in and out. And so here's another garage, the garage non-contributing, and then a parking lot located at 931, another garage, which is not contributing, and then this shed non-contributing. Finally, we get to the 3 North 5th, which I think you guys have done some reviews on this particular project, this garage kind of studio building. It's also a non-contributing structure. And then these are the buildings across the street that are within the development zone, but don't provide tons of kind of contextual information that are relevant, other than just kind of the whole idea of the Craftsman bungalow and what that means to West University. And so here's the property inventory form. This is the area looking from inside the property. We're kind of standing basically at the base of that 2-story addition, looking to the north and northeast. And this area right here will be the location of the carport. This is looking at it from the west looking east. And so you can see the 2-story addition that was placed there, and the carport will fit in this area located right here. So this is the development plan that was submitted to start this process. But a easier site plan to read is on the left is the existing site plan. So let me draw. So this is like the 2-story addition that was added on. This is the 1-story bungalow. And then here are the various accessory buildings. And this gate that's currently being used for vehicle access will be removed. And a portion of the fence will be removed here so that we can put in a man door to move recycling in and out, trash in and out, bikes, etc. And then the carport will be placed snug up against the fence where the fence line was, and just kind of continue that line. And it's about 21 and a half feet by 11, 12 feet wide. And then there's a little prefab manufactured steel spiral stair that will go up to the rooftop. And that's looking at it a little bit closer. All these dashed lines indicate the framing on this. It's basically going to be an open structure. There'll be a steel fascia piece around it. I'll show the elevations in a second, but you can see the columns. There's going to be 4 3x3 tube steel columns, and they'll catch the beams above. So we're kind of taking that craftsman approach to how they dealt with wood on these porches in West University, and kind of emulating that to some degree for the construction methodology for the carport, but using steel pieces. So this is the elevation of it. So the steel fence is located like here and here. And that's where the carport fits in. And we're gonna repurpose some of the metal panel in that steel fence and use it for the door that's located right here. And then the steel columns will just be clear sealed cold rolled steel, and there'll be a fascia, steel fascia all around that. And then above that is a deck that will have steel railings with the 1/2-inch stainless steel rod located in between the verticals. And then you can see the spiral stair in the back. And this is just an elevation of it looking from the south, which you may or may not, you'll see in Arizona Ave as you walk along. And so you can see that fascia board continues around, but you can, some of the framing members poke out a little bit. And that's kind of showing how the beams work within those 4 3x3 columns. But it's basically a steel structure and reusing rusted panel fence for the door. And that's just a little drawing of it. That's from the view of the house, so that they could see what it was going to look like from their vantage point. And so basically it meets all the kind of the height and setback of the development zone, as you saw on Arizona Avenue. contributing and non-contributing properties are coming up to the property line along the Arizona Avenue, being used for vehicle use historically as well as not so historically. And then the overall kind of construction and details of the project is just kind of paying an homage to the craftsman, but doing it out of, steel, kind of in the same vein that we did at Time Market and other projects that I've done down in downtown and in Army Park. So that's it.
Bill, I have a question.
Yeah.
So the advisory board's concern, have you addressed that in these plans?
The 1/2-inch stainless steel.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just of record and it's fine, but they're drawn 1/2-inch stainless steel. So all those little bars are the things that West University just wanted clarification on.
okay, but it's already presented. Is that in your plan?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Who wants to start with questions? Joel?
Hi, yeah, just a second. Yeah, I really don't have any questions, I don't see anything that offends the historicity of that Arizona Avenue, which is essentially, it's West University alley, named alley. So yeah, seems fine to me.
Okay, thank you. Carol?
I don't have any questions.
Ricky?
No questions.
Savannah?
Yeah, I guess my only question was mostly out of curiosity if you could really even see it from Second Avenue. It seems like with so much vegetation, you can't even see it. So it's not even till Arizona you would actually even know.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of vegetation along Jim's east side of his house, and then the thing, one of the things that we were kind of doing is we're making it transparent, right? Like there's not many solid pieces on it other than the garage door. Otherwise a bird flies through it pretty easily.
Okay,
Sounds good to me. Thanks, Bill.
okay, I guess that's everyone. Is someone willing to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make a motion, but I need the HPZ number to do that. It's HPZ, I didn't get that.
HPZ 22043.
Okay. In the matter of HPZ -22-043 at 219 East 2nd Street. We recommend approval as presented, including the 1/2-inch stainless steel for the upper deck railings.
Okay, is there a second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion?
I just have a question, Terry.
Go ahead.
Is this structure large enough to park an RV in?
No,
That was just, it's a matter of curiosity. I think it's fine anyway, but.
you want one of
Okay.
those?
Okay, anyone else? All right, let's go ahead and vote then. I'll vote aye on the motion. Carol?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Joel?
Yes,
Savannah?
Aye.
Thank you. It passes unanimously 5-0. Bill, do you have any questions about the process, or because you're an old hand at this, you don't need a summary from Jody?
No, as always, you guys are awesome, and that was way too easy today.
Great. I'm glad that it looks like an interesting project for you and Jim. So good
Gonna
luck.
be fun to build.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay. Let's move on then to item case 3B, which is HPZ 22-032, 519 South Russell Avenue. It's to construct a rear addition to full review in the Armory Park Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource. And staff, do you have any background on this? Staff? Michael or Jody?
Jody was at this meeting. I'll probably leave it to her to give you an update. But if she's not available, I can still provide.
I see her on, but I don't, she's not on mute. Oh, she's having audio issues.
Oh, okay.
So I guess, Michael, please go ahead.
Okay, Madam Chair, this project was submitted, went to Armory Park on the same day like West University, July 19. You have a legal action report as submitted to you from Armory Park. I will just read out the motion from that legal action report for the record. So the action taken by Armory Park on this project was Mr. Burr made a motion to recommend approval of the project as presented with the following conditions. One, that the height, not including chimney, of the new dwelling unit should be no higher than contributing structure 13.4 inches. Two, that the mechanical unit be placed on the roof so as to not impact adjacent neighbors. Three, that more fully developed, realized, and corrected plans be submitted prior to permitting, and that the applicant comes back to the board with any major changes. Those are the conditions that Armory Park. The motion was seconded by Mr. Robert, and the motion passed by a roll call vote of 6-0. And this was presented by Ms. Karen Bellamy, and she's sharing her screen right now.
Okay, and so Karen, who are you associated with? Are you the owner? Are you with an architectural
She's
firm?
I'm the architect,
Okay, and what's your firm?
Karen Bellamy Architect.
Okay, thank you. I just asked because for the minutes. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is something which was submitted before and reviewed by the historic preservation people. And as Michael said, they were pretty much in agreement with what we were proposing to do, which is to add an addition, which would be a second house, which would be smaller in footprint than the existing house and shorter in height than the existing house. And the existing height on the house is 14 feet 0 inches. And we are proposing something which is 11 feet 7 inches. And it was a step up. There's a large great room, which has a higher roof, a higher parapet, and then the bedroom wing, which has a lower parapet. And the higher parapet is 13 feet 7, which is still lower than the 14 feet 0 inches of the existing. We also moved the condensing unit from the side yard back towards the southeast corner of the property to get it away from the east, and to get it away from the neighbors. So that's pretty much where we stand right now.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, that's all you're presenting then. Okay, do you have questions, commissioners?
So in other words, this plan this is Carol, addresses the stipulations made by the Armory Park Preservation
Advisory board?
Advisory Board, rather, yes.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, as stated in the item 3 of the Armory Park, the architect is going to revise the plans because based on the discussion that you can read from the legal action, there are some revisions that the architect is probably going to do to the plan. So I do not believe that these plans reflect those changes.
Okay, thank you.
I could be wrong if it's not correct, the architect may correct me.
Is that correct, Ms. Bellamy? That
Um,
you haven't incorporated the changes yet?
I believe I have the addition is, as I mentioned, there is a large great room. And then there's one wing off of that, which is a kitchen, and one wing, which is a bedroom wing. And the bedroom wing has been reduced to 13 feet 7 inches, which is below the height of the existing building, which is 14 feet 0 inches. And there is one section. No, I think we're all at 13 feet 7 and 11 feet 7. So we are lower, the bedroom wing and the kitchen wings are at 11 feet 7. And the great room is at 13 feet 7. And the existing parapet height is at 14 feet 0. So we are lower in all cases. And I moved the condensing unit to the east, away from the neighbors. I'm not sure, Michael, is there something I'm missing here?
I wasn't sure whether I was not at that meeting. So I wasn't sure whether these were the same plans that you submitted to Armory Park because it didn't appear to me as if they were.
I have a question. The minutes say that the contributing structure, or that the dwelling should be no higher than the contributing structure 13 feet 4.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing different numbers. Is that been revised, or was that incorrect initially?
The existing structure is, it's varying heights, but 14 feet 0 inches is the height at which we are attaching.
But that is the garage, correct? Not
Yes.
the
Yes.
residential structure.
Yes.
And so what is the height of the residential structure, the historic?
I will have to get that. Can you hold on 1 second?
Okay, thank you.
You having any luck?
Madam Chair, I believe Mr. Burr and Ms. McClemens are in this meeting. So if you so choose to ask them further questions, you may want to do that.
Okay, I mean, while we're waiting, why don't I ask Ms. McClemens?
Okay.
We are talking about the
Hold
contributing.
on,
structure.
Ms. Bellamy, I called on Ms. McClements. Go ahead.
Hi, Martha McClements here. The structure has had an addition of the carport, which is the 14 feet. The original historic building is, I believe, 11.3, 11.4, and that was our concern that this new addition not go over the original historic structure height-wise.
Okay. So what was that?
Believe our motion, our LAR explains it.
That says 13.4 though, not 11.4.
Yes, I apologize. Yes, you were right.
You need-
The existing structure, I just found the drawings for the existing structure and it is 13 feet 4 inches.
My bad.
Okay, so, so are you showing that this new addition would not exceed 13.4?
I will change that. No, I'm showing 13.7. But I will lower that to 13.4.
Where did 13.7 come from?
Just a proportional height relative to the structure and the parapet and the roof drainage.
Okay.
And so Armory Park folks, you're saying that it can't exceed 13.4, which is the height of the historic portion of the house. But it can equal 13.4. Is that correct?
It should be lower than the original
So
contributing structure.
13.3, will that suffice then?
Absolutely.
Okay. Jody, do you have any comments on that? Now
Yes.
that you've joined by phone?
There's a hand up, Madam Chair.
Okay, hold on. I'm asking Jody and then I don't see a hand up. Let me
It
look.
does say, the minutes do say no higher than the contributing structure 13.4. So if it seems that Armory Park would have been okay if she was at 13.4, because it doesn't say less than 13.4, just to be nitpicky.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Okay, well, let's see if we can do that then 13.4 or lower.
Okay.
Maybe that could be something in the motion if we considered that. So is there someone else who has their hand up that I'm not seeing? I'm very sorry because, oh, John Burke, go ahead.
I'm happy to clarify. The original structure, the front parapet is 13.4, the rear is 11.3 to 11.7. The garage was added with a higher wall. We're not sure how that got presented. And the garage has shown on these plans is actually reversed and incorrect. There are a lot of discrepancies in the plans, but the height that the designer took for reference was from the non-contributing garage rather than the historic structure. So we wanted it to be no taller than the original contributing structure on the site, which maximum height is 13 feet 4 inches.
No taller than contributing structure on site.
Yep.
So, what are the discrepancies? And I wonder if we can just say that ask staff to work with the architect on resolving the discrepancies. Or are they things that need to be pointed out? Or why were they pointed out in the Armory Park minutes?
Yes, and we actually reference in the original draft of the LAR, we referenced, this is the fourth plan we've seen for this site, so we're familiar with it. And Mrs. Bellamy and Mr. Walkup have done an excellent job. The condenser unit was originally right in the little tiny L right up against the property line. They had talked about putting it on the roof or somewhere farther away from residences. The current site seems to be okay, but they're not quite as familiar with the property as we are.
I'm sorry, could you further explain that?
The The previous owners has submitted several different plans. Originally, it was going to be a
Right.
0 lot line plan. This is not. There's a setback all the way around. You have reduced the height. But in the historic preservation zone, you generally do not build a secondary dwelling unit that is taller than the contributing unit on site.
But we've already discussed
I'm
that.
sorry, I understand that. I thought you were saying there were other discrepancies, something with the garage.
The garage parapet or the slope of the roof that you show on your plans is actually reversed. That can be seen in the photo that is
Yes.
also presented with, and it is only the northern wall that is erroneously 16 feet high because the previous owner was a cowboy builder.
That, yes, it was the owner's request that we switch the direction of drainage. So that is why the roof is draining in the opposite direction of what it was.
We were not under the impression when we reviewed this plan that you were going to change the existing current garage.
Okay,
If that's the case, that's a separate,
That's a
I don't know
separate
that we
review.
can comment.
Jody, could you explain what's going on here?
I don't think staff was aware that they were changing the direction of the garage roof either.
Well,
If
wouldn't that then require continuation because we were talking about the construction of the rear addition today?
Yeah, that's gonna require a continuation and it's gonna have to go back to Armory Park. That was not previously
Hey,
presented.
hey,
so
Moses.
Okay, could you mute Joel unless you have a question? Okay.
I have a question about that, Terry.
Is that Ricky?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that, it's just like an aesthetic thing? The owner just wants it to drain a different direction from where it's draining now?
yes.
Is that why you, okay. And why is this all being done on the same project?
It can be done on the same project. It's just there
Not
was,
letting people know.
yeah. Karen, when you change your plan jumps around, you're jumping your plan all around a
Oh, I'm
lot.
sorry.
When you are changing your roof drainage, are you also changing the heights of the parapet on either side to accommodate the roof
It is,
change?
yes, it was changed on the side. This side.
Okay. And that wasn't discussed. It was brought up by, I recall it being brought up as it being drawn in error, but then you never corrected it to say, oh, that's not an error. We're also making that change. And I don't think that staff was aware that this was a change. So you will need to go back to Armory Park.
Okay, then how about if we do not raise the garage and we let its drainage go the way it is currently?
If you're not making any changes and it's just limited to the guest house addition, then you can move forward, but you're gonna have to correct your plans and such.
Okay, I can correct the plans. I will talk to Jonathan and make sure that that's what he wants to do. But given that it will delay the process that much more, essentially to go back to historic review, my sense is that he can probably live with it as is.
You can also get approval for the guest house and then come back and submit another different separate permit for the garage roof to change the drainage at a later date.
Yeah. Okay, although the new unit does attach to the existing garage. So its parapet height would match that of the existing garage. If we were to do it in two separate permits, it's possible that the parapet height would have to be raised on the garage extension at such time as we got approval for the garage parapet height. If that makes sense.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. The smartest thing to do, can you all hear me now? I think is to get a continuation and work and ask the owner what they would like to do and then make sure the plans are consistent. When is the next Armory Park meeting?
The next Armory Park meeting would be the third Tuesday in August.
And then
Which-
we would meet,
Okay, but if,
So you would be looking at the 16th of August for Armory Park, and then the next available would, for, if they pass it for PRS, would be August 25th.
okay, you see, this is, how about if we just, I will not raise the parapet on the garage. We will put it through as is. And if the owner wants to raise the garage parapet, we will submit that as a separate project with a separate permit and deal with raising a portion of the extension parapet if necessary.
I think that that could work too. That's what I said earlier, but yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Commissioners, do you have other questions about this then? So that we would not, we'd strictly in a motion stick with the rear addition. And maybe state that it's not anything to do with the garage and the parapet. And that it will be no taller, that the rear addition will be no taller than the height of the contributing structure, which is 13.4.
Let me make a suggestion. Karen, maybe you are thinking that doing what you're doing is going to make.
I'm sorry, there's a jet flying overhead.
No. I'm saying that, Karen, maybe you think doing what you're doing is going to.
I'm sorry, it's still flying over there. I'll let you know when it's done. Okay, go ahead.
I was saying that maybe you think splitting it into two separate projects, you are going to gain some time. It looks to me like if you just give the 1 month and talk with the owner and come back next month with the full information and just do one review for both of them, you are probably going to gain more time than trying to put it through two separate projects.
Michael, she has to go back to Armory Park if she's gonna do the roof on the garage.
Yeah, I know, but that would just be a 1 month delay.
But I really would prefer just to submit the addition and leave the existing garage alone and then deal with that as a second project if necessary.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there. That's good.
Okay, commissioners.
Terry, this is Joel.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Joel.
Hey, so I'm having a little trouble understanding what's going on. In terms of the height of the original structure, the historic structure, that's 13.4, as I understand the conversation.
Yes.
And then we have then somebody added a garage that did not comply with the guidelines. And then now the current owners want to add this addition to comply, but according to these plans, it would be the height of the garage for whatever it was, 14. So I want to ask the Armory Park people, as long as they're here to comment, what the idea behind the keeping in line with the historical structure is. Sort of what their feeling is on that particular aspect of this project.
Who would like to answer that then? Is it going to be John or Martha?
I'll let John take care of it because he'll probably have some code numbers for us.
Okay, the original house was
Let me be
actually,
clear, I'm not asking, wait a minute, I want to be clear. I'm not asking for codes on it. I think we understand what it says. It says you can't go over, but what is the importance? What's the idea behind it? What's Why is that principle there? Just as,
The plans that were presented to us had made no reference to the contributing structure. All of them are based on the non-contributing garage that was built differently than approved. We want to make sure that a new secondary dwelling is no taller than the contributing structure on the site because it's in an HPZ.
And what Joel's asking is why
Why
is
is it
it? And that's because you don't want to make an addition that is non-historic have primacy over the historic building.
Exactly.
And that's the reasoning why this is done in all the HPZs.
so,
That makes
so,
sense?
and I think I've heard Jody say this before. Does it threaten that then the historical character of the house could be decertified or something? Is that it?
Well, part of it is that you don't want additions to be, the massing and scale of them to detract from the historic building. And, you know, the size of the addition, the bulk and the compatibility are all critical. And the term would be to, you know, basically to impact the eligibility of the historic portion by having these additions that detract from it. And that's the reasoning behind it.
Okay, I do understand the reasoning. I think we're talking 3 inches here, so I don't really think that it would make a difference, but there is no reason why we can't reduce that height by 3 inches to 13.4, and therefore I think get away from that being a problem.
Jody, do you agree with that? Can't hear Jody.
Oh, I apologize. Can you repeat that question again?
Is, if the addition is 13.4 or lower, will it affect the eligibility of the main structure of the historic building?
The minor couple of inches? No.
Okay. All right, so thank you. Ricky, you have your hand up.
Yeah, it was just in response to that last comment about like 3 inches doesn't really matter that much. I get like for eligibility, no, but the reason we enforce that, at least from our point of view, is that if you do it, then eventually someone's going to come along and they're going to say, well, what about me? And then
Yeah.
we get caught in this rut of approving things that are not actually supposed to be approved because.
Oh, yes, I understand. That's
Yeah.
right. I wasn't challenging it. I was, I'm happy to make that change.
Okay, so commissioners, are there other questions, or Savannah, do you have something?
Yeah, I have a couple things. I mean, I haven't gotten clarity yet on the request and the minutes about the mechanical units being placed on the roof instead of adjacent neighbors. Is what's being proposed an alternative to their suggestion, to their motion?
We
Ms.
propose
Bellamy?
to relocate the unit to a larger area in the backyard where it is not adjacent to that wall. Given the HVAC system layout, it would be very difficult to put it on the roof, and it would be visible if it were to be on the roof from possibly the street and definitely from the interior courtyard of the house.
And I get that. I'm just trying to figure out how, I mean, does that, it doesn't fulfill the motion request. So how does that have to go back to Armory Park?
No, they make their recommendation, Savannah, and we make ours, and then Jody's office decides, the director
Okay.
decides. So we
So
don't,
we
don't
can
need to
decide.
agree. Yeah, we don't need to
Okay.
agree with everything. We like to ask about it because they've thought about it quite a bit, but we're not bound to mirror their recommendations.
Right. I was just trying to understand if that was still going to be done, or if this was the plan moving forward. So
Yeah,
that's clear now.
to put it in the back is what I think she's saying. So we just have to discuss if we're okay with that, or if we think it should go on the roof somehow.
And I'm fine with that conceptually too, but I don't And maybe I missed an earlier review of this project, but I don't understand where it's going and how it's not visible from the street or anything like that. So if we could go over the proposal, or if it's in the plans and I don't see it on
Okay,
the
no, it
plans I'm
was-
looking at.
It has been ground mounted from the get-go, but it was too close to the neighbors. And so we moved, the condensing unit was over here and we moved it over here to get away. That's, I think, meeting the, the request and the requirements of the previous comment. It would cause quite a bit of difficulty to put this unit on the roof. If it were on the roof, it would be, those units are fairly tall. And it would be, especially with a parapet height coming down slightly, it would be visible probably from the backyard and possibly from the street. When one was looking at the house, you would see a roof-mounted air conditioner sitting up there. Does that make sense?
Again, yeah, I just, I guess what I'm confused about is the plan we're looking at now, the one that Armory Park reviewed and rejected?
No,
Or we're looking at different drawings?
this is the one that has been revised.
Okay. Okay, but so it's just does it have to be, then per our request, it would have to be revised one more time because it doesn't reflect the wall height, right?
Yeah, it's going to have to be because also there can be no garage, the garage changes have to go away because that's not approved. Whatever is approved ultimately is what the plans need to look like.
So.
Right. And then my final question is we haven't talked about stucco or windows and doors, anything like that. Is that something we're reviewing now?
We can. I think we talked about that before. We will have a different stucco texture on the addition in order to differentiate it from the existing house. The color will be the same. The window style will be the same. That the vertical proportions, as best as possible, would be maintained, and the divided lights and the lintel treatment will be similar to what is in the existing house.
What type of windows? It
They
says
will be
clad wood
aluminum clad wood windows
and doors.
and doors.
Okay, it was kind of a very vague review on all these details.
I'm not quite sure. The details would show up in the construction documents, but
No, they show up on the plans that we review, and we usually see pictures of them. We see shapes, we see numbers of windows and doors, and we hear discussion on that.
Yeah, I mean, do we know what the windows on the existing structure look like? And then what is the stucco finish on the contributing structure, and what is the stucco finish proposed?
it's a hawk and trowel on the original, and I would propose a hawk and trowel with some sand in it, so it would be compatible. Nothing like a splatter, a splatter finish.
So you're saying you would propose is that have you talked to the owner about that yet? The stucco finish?
In vague terms, yeah, but it's just something, what we agreed was something that would be enough to differentiate it, but not enough to make it stand out as something that was totally unrelated to the existing structure. Yeah, see, we've got all the window sizes here on the floor plan.
Terry, this is Joel.
Go ahead, Joel.
Before we steer away from this, as I understand it, the plans for the for the HVAC is to have it on the ground. Does the Armory, I don't have it in front of me, do the Armory Park guidelines have a comment about where that system goes, the condenser should go? I know in West University, they say you don't put it on the roof. I just don't know the Armory Park rule.
I don't have that in front of me. John or Martha, do you have that at the tip of your fingers?
Basically, we prefer them not to be up adjacent to property, adjacent properties, and so that they don't create noise and other distractions for neighbors. It's a case-by-case basis of whether they're on a rooftop or shrouded or other things, depending upon the individual building.
But
Per
how
the-
about this?
And
Go
that's
ahead.
how the rule stated in the Armory Park guidelines?
Per the guidelines, it actually states swamp coolers, air conditioners, water heaters, metal turbine and roof vents, furnaces, electrical equipment, solar panels, catwalks, satellite dishes, discs, and antennas, as well as skylights should not be visible from the street. That's the verbiage
Just the
from,
extent of it. And so it would not be visible from the street here, correct?
That's
If they're
correct.
moving to the corner. Okay.
We're fine with the site change. The designer just agreed to put it on the roof during our meeting in the initial relocation, but I don't see a problem with the relocation they're proposing today. We
Oh,
just didn't
okay.
see.
Fair enough. Good deal. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, other questions? If not, let's talk about what could be in a motion. And Savannah, would you make it?
Sure, let me get organized.
Can I hold that just 1 second? I had not realized Jonathan was going to be on this call. I don't know, Jonathan, if you were part of the discussion about the garage and the height of the parapet wall, that we had talked about raising the parapet on the existing garage. And that would make the existing garage height taller than the 13.4 of the contributing structure, which would not be acceptable. So rather than throw this whole thing back to historical review, if we want to do that, I suggested that we take raising the parapet out of this project. And then if you still want to do it, we submit that later under a separate permit as a separate project.
I don't see, where is the owner? I don't see him on this call.
Jonathan, he was on. Jonathan?
I do not see him now at all.
Okay. But I
don't see him on the list.
Yeah, your only options are for us just to do the things that were agendized or continue the case and
wait, I'm sorry, am I misunderstanding? I thought it would, you said it would be okay if I took the garage portion of the work off of this project.
that's what I just said. I just
Okay.
said, just do it, just ignore the garage, but we're gonna say
Yep.
that this does not include the garage.
Yes.
You're gonna have to
Okay.
revise your
Yep.
plans and Jody will explain that, okay?
Okay,
All right, so let us, we've spent a lot of time in this case, so let us discuss among commissioners how we're going to handle the motion, okay? Savannah? What do you think?
Well, I guess I confirm that we would hold the total height of the addition, not including the chimney, to no higher than the contributing structure.
wait, a
which is-
chimney is going to be higher than a chimney has to be higher than the roof. A chimney is never considered as part of the parapet height.
That's what she's
He
saying.
just said.
Please, please, we're not taking any comments except commissioners now as we discuss this motion.
Okay, I apologize.
If you let us finish talking, it's probably gonna make more sense.
Yeah, then it will, yeah.
Yes, I was excluding the chimney, that it's no higher than the contributing structure of 13 feet 4 inches. That the ground mounted mechanical unit that's been relocated to be away from the neighbors is approved as shown. I was gonna, maybe reiterate the distinction of the stucco finish, because I don't see that on the plans. So to make sure that seems like we could ask for that to be on the drawings or incorporated in our motion, if that sounds okay. What else?
Well, I think that we're not doing anything with the garage, and I think we have to be explicit that the plans are revised to just include what the final decision is basically, correct? And to remove things that aren't to be part of the motion. And to work with staff maybe on making sure that the plans show what they're supposed to show, and only that. Does that make sense?
So yeah, so ensure plans basically reflect this discussion.
Well, it's
and
not just our discussion, it would be the final decision, correct?
the final
Jody?
decision.
Jody, wouldn't it be the final director's decision on the?
Correct.
Mhm.
Should I say anything about the garage or just? Because on our plans, it doesn't show as any work to it. So that seems,
Jody, what's your recommendation?
I would probably make a comment about leaving the garage out
You would make one.
in the motion, yeah.
Yeah,
That the
yeah.
garage is, just to be clear.
so. No work or change to garage.
Under this review.
Okay.
All right, other commissioners, do you have any other thoughts for Savannah? I think you covered it really well, but
This is Ricky. I do not.
anyone
Okay.
else?
Do we need to just
I second.
clarify the windows? This is Carol. Do we need to clarify the windows? That they will be, just reiterate that, they will be the aluminum wood.
Clad
clad.
wood.
Yeah, as shown. Well, they don't really discuss, well, is it in the plan somewhere, I suppose?
It will be
The
in
the doors were noted, but I didn't see
Yeah,
metal
I didn't
clad.
see that specific, but it was very small on my paperwork,
Yeah,
so.
so I would say
It does say insulated clad wood doors and windows.
Okay,
on the
so we're
elevation.
fine, so we could just say as presented. Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So on the matter of HPZ 22-032 at 519 South Russell Avenue, I move to recommend approval of the project as presented with the following comments and clarifications. That the total height, excluding the chimney, of the new dwelling unit should be no higher than the contributing structure of 13 feet 4 inches. That the ground mounted mechanical unit that has been relocated to be away from the neighbors is approved as shown. That the stucco finish of this new dwelling unit be a distinct finish from the stucco finish of the original contributing structure. That there is no work or change to the garage under this review. That doors and windows are approved as shown in the drawings as insulated clad wood doors and windows. And that we would like to ensure the plans are revised to reflect the final decision.
Okay, and before that's seconded, you mean metal clad, correct? Metal clad wood?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Metal clad. Add the metal.
Okay, all right. Is there a second?
I'll second it. This is Carol.
Okay, is there further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote on that. Savannah,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Joel?
Yes.
And I vote aye. So it passes unanimously 5-0. So Jody, could you explain to Ms. Bellamy what the next steps are?
There will be a decision letter issued, signed by the director. And from the date of that decision letter, there's a 14-day appeal period. During that appeal period, you can revise your plans per the conditions in that decision letter. If you decide to appeal, or the property owner, you as owner's representative or the property owner, PRS or the advisory board appeals, there's a fee associated with it. And no permits are issued during that when it's on appeal, and it'll go to mayor and council. And they will decide to either uphold the appeal or not. We don't get that many appeals. We've had one since I've been here in almost 4 years. If there are no appeals, then you would just submit your revised plans per those conditions to Development Services, along with decision letter and a response letter to the initial zoning comments. And you can finish out your permitting process for the proposed work.
Okay, so I will wait until I get that decision letter and then 14 days after that. Correct?
Yeah, and it'll note in the decision letter, it'll note when the appeal period is over.
Okay, do you have any idea when I can expect that? Is it like a week or a month, or it varies?
We typically try to do the minutes for the meeting first and get those done relatively quickly. And then we will work on getting the decision letter out once we have its clear minutes with all of the I can think, the conditions noted.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay.
thank you all very much.
Thanks, everyone. Okay. Once Ms. Bellamy takes that down, we'll get into our next case. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Case 3C is HPZ 22061 at 803 South 4th Avenue. It's to construct an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU, and demolition of detached rear yard structure. This is a full review in the Armory Park Historic Preservation Zone. It is a contributing resource. So we're saying that 803 South 4th Avenue, the primary structure is a contributing resource? Yes?
As is the rear structure, technically
The one
listed.
that they want to demolish.
Yeah, it's erroneously listed as a contributing structure, but it's listed as a contributing structure.
Okay, so then, and we'll be using the rehabilitation standards. So staff, do you have any background, please?
Yes, this project was also heard by the Armory Park Historic Zone Advisory Board on the 19th. It was a busy day, the 19th. And they made a motion to recommend approval of the plans as presented, including the demolition of the existing shed per the advice of the Historic Preservation Officer that is apparently non-contributing but listed. However, that process may proceed. And it passed with a vote of 6-0.
Okay, thank you. And who is here to present this case, please?
That would be us two from Dust Architects. I'm Jarek Sosi. And I'm Kate Hayes.
Okay, could you guys put your names in the chat so that I have them spelled correctly, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, both your first and last names. Thank you. Go ahead. Okay. Hold on with that, Jarek.
Okay.
Esosie, Cade Hayes. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Please present your project. You can share it on screen.
So our project is located at 803 South 4th Ave. Can everyone see the screen?
I can.
Okay. The project is located on the corner of East 18th Street and South 4th Ave. You can see it here. This is the existing house and the existing shed in the backyard. And this is the development zone with all the contributing and non-contributing structures around. So just the property was purchased in 1873, and at the time the building was said to have been a storage building in our banking business. Alterations to the building were made, such as the roof and room additions, resulting in today's current look. The first recordings of residential use dates to the 1890s. Currently, it is owned by Ken Godat, who resides on the property. The owner would like to add one accessory dwelling unit one carport structure and a new storage shed and some landscaping. Here are some images of the development zone, what the houses look like. And on numbers 10 and 11 is where Ken Godet's house is at the corner. And this is a view of the west facade showing windows and north facade as well. And our project will be located just behind this existing wall. Some images of the existing shed that we propose to demolish, and some of the conditions of what the windows look like in the French doors. In this next one, we have the existing house stucco finish, which is a rough cement stucco with white paint. And on this middle one is the existing site walls stucco, which is sanded cement stucco with white paint. And what we're proposing is a smooth finish. This doesn't show the correct color, but we do propose to have the same color as the existing house, but with the smooth stucco finish. For the storage shed, the owner is proposing to demolish it. And we have submitted to a request for reevaluation of that structure. And we believe it to be built between the years of 1949 and 1974, which does not fall under the period of significance for Armory Park, which dates 1860s to 1945. So we'll have that reevaluation in November. And here is the new site plan with the new proposed ADU, which is around 600 square feet. And further back, you have the new storage shed with the carport structure located here and landscaping. And the new ADU construction will reflect the same style as the existing house. It will maintain a similar rusted corrugated hipped roof and stucco to match existing house, or color to match existing house. The new ADU construction will have a height of 11'2" at the middle of the hip roof with a ridge height of 13 feet, which will be lower than the existing contributing structure. The new ADU construction will align with the historic setback of the existing house, which is 2'9" from the property line. Through previous courtesy reviews, this has been an accepted proposal. The roof, again, is rusted corrugated, and it's a hip roof. Surface texture, as I said, will be smooth stucco with similar paint color. And rhythm on the north facade, we're taking from Ken's 6' by 6' window here and continuing that sort of rhythm along that north facade. And here are some of the elevations. So this is the north elevation, which I was talking about, and there's a line of the existing site wall, so anything below that will not be visible from the street. And on the south facade, we're proposing French doors, which are existing on the main house as well. And we are planning to use the same window brand, which is Marvin, which is on the existing house. Same color and here are the elevations and of the storage shed. And for the storage shed, we'll also have smooth stucco finish with same color as the main house and same rustic corrugated roof. And here are some conceptual visuals of what it looks like from street side. And the inventory form. Thank you.
Okay, I do have a question for commissioners. Would you like to see a different stucco finish on the ADU than to match existing?
So to clarify, we're not trying to match the texture, we're trying to match the color. So in this case, the image on the left is the existing house. The image in the middle is the side wall. And the one on the right-hand side would be something we're aiming for, which would be to differentiate the other two.
Okay, could you go back to your notes though? Because I
Yeah.
made them larger, just, I want to be sure that that's what the notes say.
Top note is wrong.
Yeah, that should.
Okay,
say-
I see. Okay, I just misread that then until I made it larger. Okay, and then you said that the reevaluation of that building would not be done till November?
Yeah.
And
yes.
what if it's evaluated to be contributing?
Jody, you help us out here. I think we've established through all of the documents that we submitted that it is erroneous. And of course, you know, someone could rule otherwise, but what we found is that it was an error. So if it
So-
is,
So I reached out to Eric and Shippo, and I was pushing for the July HSRC agenda. Even though I was like 5 weeks prior, 6 weeks prior to that agenda, Bill poo-pooed going on that agenda and said it was full. But we did get a verbal agreement that it appears to be a mistake from Shippo staff, that it was listed as a contributing structure. So just to cover all of our bases, they've said that we could be on the November agenda to correct that error.
Yeah, and we could say in the motion, like the Armory Park motion, correct?
Yeah,
That per the city HPO, it is likely a mistake and is not contributing,
yeah.
something like that. Okay, I just wanted to be sure that we covered that base. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Other commissioners? Savannah, do you have anything?
Sure. No, I'll start. I mean, I think it's a great presentation. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. My only, and I think you covered everything. I just didn't see, you know, we often see like what the height of the contributing or the existing house is, and it would be nice to know that, to confirm, because you say it's lower, but, and I believe you, but it's nice to have on the plans that it's, what is the height of the front house?
Yeah, we have an older presentation with,
we made a mistake and left this out. There's the
Yeah.
elevation, so that the height
Oh,
is
okay.
16 feet to the ridge.
yeah. And now this is a little lower, but yeah, it would be,
We're at 13.
we're at 13 right now,
Yeah.
which is,
So 15 versus 13, so that definitely needs to be on the final plans that are submitted so that it's really clear. Because I think that drawing that we saw, that perspective drawing, you kind of had to look at it in the way it's,
yeah.
yeah, some of them show that it's clearly lower.
Yeah.
Does that answer that, Savannah?
Yeah, I think that elevation that shows both is good. So.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions from you?
No, I'm fine. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Joel?
No, I agree with Savannah. Excellent job.
Okay, Carol?
No, I have no questions. A very nice presentation. The only question I had was the one that you presented, Terry, which had to do with the eligibility and the November meetings. So that's been clarified. Thank you.
Okay, and Ricky?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, so we would need a motion then, and we would need to have something in there similar to the Armory Park motion on based on, you know, per Jody, that was likely a mistake, and we would need to mention that we're okay with the demolition, correct, Jody?
It doesn't hurt to have that in there.
Yeah. Okay, so who would like to make that motion?
Okay, oh, wait a minute, am I on? I'll go ahead and, in the matter of HPZ 22-061 at 803 South 4th Avenue. Recommend approval as presented, with the caveat that the eligibility of the storage structure that is to be demolished was a mistake per, oh wait, I'm really messing this up, sorry. Let me try again. Recommend as approved.
As submitted, you mean?
Or as submitted. With the understanding from comments by the HPO that the eligibility of the storage structure was a mistake, and it is not a contributing entity to the property. And so we would approve as presented.
The demolition is present as
And the demolition, yeah,
as proposed.
yes, demolition is proposed.
Okay.
I'm
Is
sorry,
there-
I mucked that up a little bit.
No, that's okay. Is there a second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and call roll. Terry votes aye. Carol?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Joel?
Yes.
Savannah?
Aye.
Great, then that passes 5-0. And quick question. Cade, was that you making the whole presentation and Jarek was just there for support?
That was Jarek.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm just here as support.
okay. All righty. And then do you need Jody to go over the next steps for you?
We heard him last time, so I think it's pretty clear. We'll wait for a letter of I can't remember what it's called, decision letter. And it may take 6 weeks.
It's likely a little bit less once the letter gets done, and then the appeal period is 2 weeks, correct, Jody?
It's 14 days, yeah.
14 days, yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Alrighty.
14.
All righty.
Okay, thank you all. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's look at item 4, which is the Task Force on Inclusivity Report Recommendations. 4A is discussion on best practices for naming of city and county owned physical assets. And I don't have anything at this time. Okay. Making a note. Okay, item 5 is current issues for information discussion. 5A is minor reviews. Go ahead and staff.
Just give me a minute. Okay, Madam Chair, for minor reviews this time, I do have many of them that are pending, mostly in Armory Park. I'm going to ask for volunteers for those, which I'm planning to do those inside next week. I have two of them. The applicants are out of town, so I don't need to waste your time telling you about those. But I have a review at 749 South Second Avenue for a roof, a review for 342 East 18th Street for a roof, and also a review for 423 South 4th Avenue for a fence. Those are the three reviews that I have for Armory Park next week. If I have somebody who can volunteer to do that today, that would be fine. But if you want me to send out a request, I can do that too.
Hey, Michael, I can help with those either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of next week. I don't know if you wanted to do it earlier than that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Also, I wanted to say to you, Ricky, that you remember that review, the sign that we did at in the barrio.
Yeah, I do.
The applicant is still working on revising the plans because he contracted COVID and has been sick for some time. When he got well, the wife also contracted COVID. And so
Oh my gosh.
it's been a tough time for them. So they have not been able to provide the revision to the plan. That is why that is also still pending. And whenever it comes due, I'm going to reach out to you.
Okay, that works. Thank you.
Okay, and so
Those are
Michael,
the ones that I have. And then the other two, because Martha and John are here, I know they take notes. I have the two other ones are for 732 South 3rd Avenue. That one is for a fence. And the other one is 337 East 13th Street. That is also for a fence. The applicant for those two applications are out of town. And whenever they come back to town, I am going to get in touch directly with Martha and with the member of PRS so we can do those, but they will not be scheduled for next week. I will contact Ricky for us to agree on when to do these other three. That's what I have for minor review at this point in time.
okay, and Michael, there were none conducted since the last PRS meeting, correct?
No, there was none.
Okay, thank you. Item 5B is appeals.
We do not have any appeals at this point in time.
Item 5C is zoning violations.
We continue to work on them. I don't have any specific one that stands out right now that I can bring your attention to it, but as they come due, we continue to work on them.
Thank you. Item 5D is review process issues. Does anyone have anything they would like to bring up?
This is Carol. I guess the only thing is, usually the presentations are really well put together and everything is there for us to review and act upon. However, we've had a couple and one today where the plans were not completed. It wasn't clear as to whether what changes, some of the changes that were recommended by the advisory board were on the plan, some were not. We didn't have any elevations or photographs. You know, is there any way, I guess my point is there any way that staff can review those before we get them, because it takes a lot of time to review that. And I think it's not just the time, but I think it causes a lot of frustration on the part of the applicants. And it's difficult for us to go ahead and come up with some kind of an action on it when the information is just not all there. So I just ask that maybe there could be some review to make sure that when it comes to the committee, that it is complete.
So to respond to that, there was photos, there was the information packet, it was online, it's posted online. I think part of the frustration, to be blunt, was the architects not being prepared to properly present that project. She didn't do a very good job at Armory Park either when it came to presenting. We were not aware, because it wasn't spelled out, that she was changing the drainage and the roof on the garage, because that was not called out at all on the plans. And so it came to light that it was an error in the drawing. John caught that during the Armory Park. Because Armory Park only makes a recommendation, we've typically not had updated plans that you view, because you're viewing the same thing that they're viewing. And then you make a recommendation. It can get cost prohibitive for the property owner if they're constantly making revisions. And if your revision that you're proposing is actually contrary to what Armory Park has, then they have to go back to something else. So that's multiple revisions on a plan set. So the plan set that you're reviewing is the plan set that Armory Park is reviewing. They really shouldn't be making any revisions in between. You are making your own recommendation on what you want. And then ultimately, whatever conditions come out in the decision letter, that's when they make their revisions, because those are final. That's the final decision on those. But there were photos, was that information. She had her checklist of the rhythm. Unfortunately, she didn't go through it as nicely as the Bill Mackey did and the Dust Architects did. She unfortunately was unprepared and kind of, even though we had prepped her beforehand, she was a little lost. So we do try to make sure that the information is all together before we post this stuff, but it is also on the website.
Hey, thank you. And I think it was always my understanding that we were going to see what the advisory boards see. However, we've had a couple, and including this one, where they have made changes to the plans to reflect comments from the advisory board, but it's nice if they say that up front so that we know that, going in, that those changes have been made.
Yeah, well, we just need to ask that question. And I think we need to say, hey, we've looked at what's posted online. We need you to show us some of the pictures. I mean, I don't know, Jody and Michael, if you could show them a presentation. I mean, we don't really get recordings. I mean, you do have recordings of meetings. They could look at good example presentations. I mean, and normally we get fairly decent presentations, so, but it is frustrating.
Yeah,
even the pictures on that one were not good online.
I know, and that was an issue I had too, and I couldn't even read some of the plans online because they were too small and I couldn't get it up.
Usually, yeah, we will get very good pictures that like you can see each side of the house, but that one I looked at it and I was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I found the plans very difficult with that program, but that's just me. I mean, I don't know if anyone else felt that way.
I was dizzy from the.
Yeah, I was too. I was like,
Zooming.
oh my goodness. Good thing I had my lunch a long time ago.
I did ask her at one point to stop zooming around.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
She was zooming around a lot, and I felt the pain that you all feel. But we did tell her, and you have some architects and you have some people that present really well. They understand that you're a different entity, that you have no knowledge of this project, and that they have to basically start from scratch and explain the project. And we tell them this, and I told her this, but sometimes they don't get it and they think somehow that you have brain meld with the Armory Park or whatever advisory board heard it first, and so that you're just a continuation. They maybe not realize that you're totally different people and haven't seen it before. It is unfortunately a mixed bag of people who present for everybody. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and maybe what we need to do is for applicants that we know, I mean, we know that Bill Mackey knows the drill, and we've had a couple from Dust Architects, they seem to know the drill, and maybe we just mention up front, or I do, that, remember, this is a separate review, and we always ask for the advisory boards, you know, what they said, just so that we're aware of that, and we've seen their LARs and so on, just to help people go along. And she was very anxious too and didn't hear what we were saying, you know, like with Savannah's comment on, you know, the height wasn't taken from the top of the chimneys. So anyway, that's a good comment though. Anyone else on a review process issue? No? Okay.
I had just like a general
Okay.
question, but it might be better. At the next big meeting that we have, when's that, the 10th?
Yeah.
Do we know if we're getting another presentation about what's happening with the commission split?
I think there's going to be several items on the agenda about that, and Jody and Linda give us updates on that. And have you gone to mayor and council since that last meeting, Jody?
No, we have not gone to mayor and council. I'll let everybody know. We don't expect to go until later. Like, it's not going to happen in August. It'll probably October, September. We haven't got a date yet. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much going to be my update. Is that
Well,
we're on pause.
basically, what you mean that you're not going to be able to go to mayor and council and talk to them about what's going on with the park service and so on. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and getting guidance from them. So our process with the split is it's on a pause right now. It's on hold.
Okay.
Okay. I was just wondering, for the purpose of our meetings, like if I can plan to have a full set
Plan.
of meetings in August, September.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Plan that.
Okay.
Yes.
That was just my
Even
only
because, yeah, so if we keep moving forward, we still have to go to the commission, we still have to go to the planning commission, and then we still have to go to mayor and council. So there's still quite a bit of process that has to happen. So I would say just keep planning like you're planning.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks. Anyone else for review process? Okay, then let's go on to item 6, summary of public comments. Jody, were any received by the deadline?
None were received.
Okay. Item 7 is future agenda items. How does that look?
We will have an IID in the main gate making its way over. We will have, I know we have some other projects. Probably in the latter part of August, we'll have potentially some from Fort Lowell coming forward. I think that's what I know right now. Oh, and then eventually we're gonna see Capstone probably in September, maybe late August or September. And then we'll have also a project that's on in Miracle Mile. It's a HCD project, so it's associated with the Section 106 review for new construction by the No-Tell Motel that will be coming through. But those are a little bit later.
I have to recuse from that one since that's my project, Jody.
The Section 106?
The no-tell, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pushing for them to keep the name, but I know they're not keeping it.
Okay, so question, is everyone currently on the meeting? Are you going to be available for the August 11th meeting?
Oh, this is Ricky. Yeah, I will.
Does anyone think they won't be on? Okay, and we don't know about Jan. but we'll know later. I think she probably will be back. I'm gonna be out of the country for a bit after the 21st of August, but depending on the size of the agenda, because it will be 9 p.m. my time then. I can probably be on if I need to be, but we'll just see, because we have really no idea for the second meeting of August, right, Jody? I mean, other than what you said, what comes in and is ready.
Correct.
Okay, so, but if you don't think that the 106 review will be on the late August one, or you have no idea?
I'm not sure at this time.
Okay, so we'll just stay in close touch about that, because if I know that I'm needed for a quorum, then of course I can be on. Otherwise,
I have them for a courtesy review a couple of times, so they know that I'm looking for them to do a courtesy review on that one first.
okay. All righty. So any other questions on future agenda items by commissioners? Okay, I'm just trying to see my time here. I can't see in the shadow. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll adjourn at 12:42. Jody, you'll send me the recording and so on. And I think
You said 12:42.
Oh, it's 2:42.
that's what I meant. I wrote 2:42 down. Yes, it's 2:42. And yeah, it's just the shadow's bad here. Okay, thank you everyone for your participation in this meeting. So we'll see you next time, and please, I'm going to send out a save the date for the full commission meeting. So please check your emails and respond to that, because it was real stressful last time with just the minimum number for a quorum. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.